Hello everybody. I got this case the other day when I was shopping with my dad on his birthday on our Bargains Galore on 64 in Arkansas. And I took it home and showed it to my mom. We always show all our trinkets and stuff to mom. And she goes, "Oh, look, this has a monogram on it." And I said, "Yep, it sure does. And I'm going to take it off." And she said, "Well, you can't do that." Well, guess what? I can. And I told her I would show her. And then she said, "Why don't you make a video?" So why not? I had to do it anyway. I might as well make a video. So if anybody out there wants to do it or wants to even know that it's possible, I'll show you how to do it. I'm happy to give all my little tips and stuff with it. And hopefully you can enjoy it or learn from it. Sometimes monograms are great. A lot of times, though, people want to monogram them themselves, so removing them is important. It has a antique tube hinge there. That's nice to see. And let's just jump into what we need for this. So there's only two things on here that you might need to get that's not laying around the house, and that's required for this. And that's sandpaper that is medium to fine grit and polishing cloth or pads. But there are other things that are helpful that if you plan on doing it very much, you might want to look at investing into, which is a bench lathe, metal file, and Tarnex. So here's different sizes of sandpaper. I usually start with about 320, and I go all the way up to 2,500 and sometimes even 4,000 on more detailed things. You can get a package with the multiple different packages, like 24 pieces, just for $8 off of Amazon. These are the best polishing cloths I've ever had. They're called micro abrasive polishing cloths, but I mean, they just take seconds to do things. A lot of people like sunshine cloths, but these are absolutely the ones I would recommend. Next is a bench lathe. I do a lot of jewelry, so I love this. It's small. I just have it in my garage. It's easy to use, and it has professional results, especially once you get used to it and know how to use it. But obviously it is more expensive, and you don't want to have to invest in this unless you're going to be using it a lot. So it's nice to have, but it's not required or necessary. These are the metal files I'm talking about. They're a whole lot cheaper than a bench lathe. It doesn't do the same thing, but it does make the work of taking scratches, monograms, things like that out of the metal. It makes it a lot easier and quicker if they are deep, and this is a lot cheaper. So they're great to have, but still not necessary if you're just doing it for one piece. Something else I highly recommend is Tarnex. It is one of the best things to get the tarnish off of sterling, even gold and vermeil. It works wonders. Yes, it is a chemical, and it is something that needs to be used with care. But as long as you're an adult and using it safely, this is amazing. So the first thing I do is clean off the portion where the sanding has to be done. The monogram has to be taken off. And this is just a tiny square of 320 grit sandpaper that I put on here. And I'm just going to be sanding all around here. And you always want to make sure that it's thick enough metal to do this, because if the metal is very thin, you're just going to bust right through it after you've been doing this. But I try to stay either in circular motions or the same way, so we don't have like tons of cross scores and weird marks in the metal. So I'm still using the 320, and I'm just slowly just scratching away with the sandpaper. I do it lightly so I don't create large scratches or divots in there. You want to make sure you're not damaging the metal at all. Also with cross scores, it's really important at the end to make sure you're going all in the same direction. So right now, you can see I'm going all kinds of different directions. And I'm always also, after I get done with one, checking to make sure the metal is still thick and stable, and that I'm not like thinning it out so much that I'm going to go through. So you can see there's still quite a bit of the monogram there. At this point is when I like to get my metal files out, because now I can see that sanding will take a long time. These metal files will help me make a quicker job of this. And you have to be very careful with these metal files, because you can gouge into the sterling very easily with these, and you need to see which one is best for what you're working with. I'm working with kind of a domed area, so it's kind of odd. I end to where the monogram's at. It's kind of weird. I'm eventually going to use a curved back file for this, but see, it's so easy to just make a big scratch, and then you have to start filing and sanding that scratch out as well. So now I've been filing on it for a little bit, just easy going, and I have another metal file here, and you can still see that it's slightly in there. And this is the part where it gets even trickier, because getting this last little bit out is probably what takes the longest. So I've filed and filed, and you can see it's almost gone, but after you polish this, you'll still see the remnants of that monogram. Here's the back, just showing you how far it has come since then, but there is still a little bit of the scratches in there. So I'm going to take my polishing pad, and I'm going to wipe it and give it a good little polish so I can see what parts of the monogram is left, because when you have all these little scores in it right now, sometimes you just miss it, and once you do all the polishing and stuff, you will be able to see those indents where a little bit of the A or W's left in there. So it's looking pretty good, but I can still see some dents, and there's still some slight marks from where the monogram was. So I am going to have to fix that, and I'll just do it with this like little wood piece I have. It could be the end of an artist paintbrush, anything that's soft, not metal, because you don't want to make big lines in it. But I just take it and kind of puff the piece back out very lightly so it doesn't have those dents in there. And now you can see it's perfectly domed again, and those dents aren't in there anymore. This was actually going to make it easier to finish and buff out and polish as well. Now I've sanded it all the way up to the 2500 sandpaper, and it has made it very smooth, and I'm going to polish it again just to make sure that all the lines and little spots from the monogram are out. And as you can see, it turns it almost to a mirror finish by the time you get up to 2500 grit. So next I took it outside, and I have a little ceramic bowl, and I just used a plastic fork. I pour some of my Tarnex in. You don't need much, just a little bit. You don't even have to submerge it. I just do each side for a few seconds, and I like to swish it around a little bit to get the chemical reaction going with the tarnish. And I just do that until I'm satisfied with most of it gone, and then I just take it inside and wash it with cold soapy water. Here's the polishing pads that I was talking about. I like to cut them into 4s to make them last longer. So I've actually, after I washed all the Tarnex off with the cold soapy water, I took it outside to my garage and used my bench lathe. The bench lathe helps give it more of a great polished look, and also gets rid of some of the scores a little bit more. You don't have to use this. Like I said before, that would be a really big purchase for one thing. However, it is really great. But this is what it looks like after the Tarnex. Now, the Tarnex usually leaves a little bit of a cloudiness to it. You won't see that because of I use my bench lathe. However, this polishing pad would get the cloudiness off. It even helps more even after the bench lathe. It's still kind of matte right here, and I can use my polishing cloth and it will take it to just a mirror finish. It's these cloths are ridiculously good. It might not show as well on the camera as it does in real life, but it's going to be a mirror finish at the end. And this is the side that the monogram was on, and there's no trace of it anymore. And the sterling is still very nice and thick and stable. So sped this up because nobody really needs to see me polish in real time. But while I'm doing this, I just wanted to mention that there are places in this that you can see black, like in between the grapes and in some of the leaves. And that's oxidation that's done purposely by the artist or maker. You don't ever really want to get that, because that's to help the design pop off of the piece better. So it's purposely there and it's not tarnish. And here's the end product. It has a mirror finish. It's very shiny. It has the great oxidation that has the design popping out of it that we can see now. We can read the sterling on it very easy. I've reshaped the metal so the lid fits on there snug, and it's just a great piece. I was so happy to make this video, and I hope it helped you if you needed the help. If not, I hope it was just interesting to you. See, told you I could, Mom. Give this a thumbs up and leave me any questions or comments. Thanks for watching. Bye.